Hey everyone, and another happy lazy Sunday to you, my lovely weekend warriors. I hope the weekend has been good to y'all, and if not, sit back, relax, and let me entertain you for a moment. So this weekend's movie is yet another one of Disney's attempts to recreate one of their classic animated films in order to cash in on that sweet nostalgia, because apparently there are no new ideas left to explore. Hollywood has done it all, and I've already voiced my opinion on how I feel about Disney's recreations. But I am not on board with your retread, reshoots, reboots, whatever you want to call them, of all your old classics. However, I was willing to give this one a bit of a pass as Disney was going in a different direction than the other live-action movies, and this reason has been a topic of debate between fans of the movie on whether or not this is a live-action movie or an animated film. So, why don't we go ahead and get into this one. The Lion King Remastered. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get back to the reason why I'm calling it that. But anyways, it stars Donald Glover, Beyonce Knowles, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Alfre Woodard, John Oliver, Billy Eichner, Seth Rogan, also featuring Kani and James Earl Jones, both reprising their roles as Rafiki and Mufasa. The Lion King, as we all should know, is the story about Simba, a young lion cub who is destined to one day surpass his father and take his place as the new king of the Pride Lands. So the reason why I'm calling this The Lion King Remastered is because I don't want to call this The Lion King 2019 or the live action Lion King, because this isn't a live action movie. It is an animated movie that is pretty much a shot for shot remastered version of the original. And this is the reason why I gave this one a bit of a pass, and that's because Disney is reanimating all the animals in the movie to give them a realistic look in the film. And this is something I think they should have done with all the other films that they are recreating, because if you have to bring a classic back, which you really don't, then why not just stick to your guns? And Disney is the top producer that is pretty much the leader in creating stunning animated or CGI films. But people might say is that, whoa, hang on, this takes place in a live action setting. And that's a salient point, my friends, but let me learn you something. This scene in Coco has been praised by many animators for its photorealistic look, but a little fun fact is that that shot glass is a real shot glass that the animators put into the frame and then animated the rest of the background features around this shot glass. So we have a live action element within an animated movie. So looking at this film, I consider all the live action scenery as live action elements within an animated movie. So sorry people, like it or not, this is an animated movie. But anyways, the bigger questions are, did we need this movie to be remade? No. Should it have been remade? Absolutely not. But most of all, how did it do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was f***ing terrible. I hated every minute of this movie, but you know what? I'll give credit where credit is due. And damn it, Disney, I am mad at you, but this movie looks fantastic. The animation is absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. The animators definitely spent a great deal of love and time drawing all of these animals and making them as realistic as possible, that when I first started watching it, I thought I was looking at one of those cool 4K demos that Best Buy plays on their TVs to really show off how good this TV looks, that I was just in awe of how this movie looked. I also have to give credit to the two guys who were the only ones who managed to pull me back into the film, and that is Billy Eichner and Seth Rogan. And oh my god, thank you Seth Rogan and Billy Eichner for bringing to life some of my favorite characters, Timon and Pumbaa. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these two were the best part of this movie. Seth Rogen does an incredible job of recreating this adorableness of Pumbaa that I almost have to say sorry to him, as I was a bit skeptical with him playing Pumbaa. But as soon as he comes into play, all of my doubts faded away. These two guys injected a great deal of energy that the film so desperately needed, that it was like adding salt to food that was just bland and flavorless. And the chemistry between these two is so on point, which is pretty interesting because I feel like Eichner and Rogan have different comedy styles, but they just blended really well together that they managed to keep me in my seat. And that's it. That is literally it. So why don't we go ahead and get into the issues with this film? But before we do that, What happened to this movie? Oh my god, what happened? Now, the animals were beautifully drawn and made to look as realistic as possible, but that was a double-edged sword for this movie because they were not given any emotions whatsoever. It literally reminded me of those memes of Darth Vader where he shows his different expressions, but they're all pretty much the same. You know, this is a happy lion. This is a sad lion. This is a confused lion. I think you're getting my point. It made it really hard to get invested into this movie, especially when, now, we all know this happens, but spoilers if you haven't seen the original or this new one, you know, when Mufasa dies, they did their absolute best to recapture this iconic moment, but I felt nothing because they gave me nothing to feel. Especially when Mufasa was falling to his death, it looked so silly because Simba's reaction is so poorly edited that I was like,
I'm sorry, it just gets me. But it still is sad.
I just laughed at it because all it shows is this CGI lion cub yelling, "No!" with zero emotion, that it looked like one of those weird animal commercials where their lips are just moving.
Well, we're the kings. I say we go try it.
Awesome, let's go.
Hey, how are my teeth?
Good. Scary.
It also didn't help that all the voice performances were just not on par with this type of material. Everyone was so bland and emotionless. It just sounded like they were going through the motions to get this movie done as quickly as possible. Even James Earl Jones didn't have the same luster as he did in the original. And now I know it's because he's gotten older, but his voice just sounds so flat and unenthused to be back in this film that it made me really sad to hear him like this because it felt so soulless. All the performances were soulless. Like the speech he gives Simba after saving him from the hyenas. That was a very powerful and moving speech, but when he gives it here, it doesn't have the same energy as it does then. This movie had so much voice talent that it's crazy that everyone was outperformed by Rogan and Eichner, which is no disservice to them, but come on, Donald Glover and James Earl Jones, you guys just got schooled. Finally, the music just did not have the wow factor or the showmanship it deserved. When they started singing "I Just Can't Wait to Be King," this was the first bit of the movie that I was super excited to see. I was like, oh, how are they going to do this? Are they going to do it like the original? Or are they going to give it like a fresh new spin? Oh, I'm so excited to see this.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Nope. All they did was just pretty much have Simba run through the jungle, and not even like super cool fun running like in the Jungle Book. He was just kind of trotting along the stream like I was watching some National Geographic programming. And welcome back to Animal Kingdom. As we can see, we have our little lion cub enjoying his leisurely stroll across the banks of the Serengeti. But, this is an Animal Kingdom? Oh, this is the Lion King. Are you sure? Because this looks like something we film every day. And he's supposed to be singing right now. What the f? With all of that being said, I'm giving Lion King an F. Now, I've seen some bad movies, but this one takes the cake. It fails to capture the magic of the original. It fails to understand the lessons that made this movie so beloved. It fails to use its amazingly talented cast. It's nothing but a lifeless and soulless movie that is stripped of everything that made the original so good. If you're going to revive a classic, then you need to improve or match what the original did. And this movie doesn't do any of those things. It's nothing but a shameless cash grab, and it made me furious with the end result. You guys for joining me, and I'm so sorry this review was a bit more negative than I usually make it, but I mean, hey, if Disney wasn't going to put their all in this movie, then I guess I'm not going to put my all in this review. But let's talk about it. Did you guys see The Lion King, and did it capture the magic for you? Or can you feel the shame tonight? Put your comments in the comment section down below, and if you guys like this video, give it a little bit of love by hitting that thumbs up button. And if you would like to see more of my reviews, subscribe to my channel by hitting that little bell icon, and that way you'll get notifications anytime I release a new review. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
You're Rick fucking Dalton. Don't you forget it.